reports are that Coach Tomlin will be taking a step back with his play calling duties going into next season. This will be the first time that he is stepping back from that since 2013, I believe was when it was reported or at least that's what he confirmed. But with that being the case, man, turning it over, allowing my man Terrell Austin to do the game day play calling duties. Just wanted to know, what was your thoughts on that, man?
To be honest with you, I don't care.
Okay.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in your perspective.
Yeah.
Why do you think this could work, or why would it be bad, good, whatever?
For sure.
Because I feel like the pros would just naturally be Tomlin has more oversight over everything. He can maybe coach more on a player-by-player basis whenever people come back to the sidelines.
Yeah.
Versus if he was also doing the play calling. Like, you got to focus on flow of the game. What did we call last possession? What did we call this possession? Vice versa, all that type of stuff. So I feel like there's pros and cons, but if he trusts Terrell Austin, who did have success with Detroit whenever he was the defensive coordinator up there, then why not? He also has Brian Flores on the defensive staff. I think it's just like I see more pros to it at this point in Tomlin's career, especially with having those guys on defense. Like, if you trust them, then why not? It's just Tomlin taking an even more leadership role, more overview of the whole team, which I don't think is a bad thing.
Yeah. I don't fault that.
Well, like, that's what I mean.
But
I don't care.
Yeah,
as long as it works, I could care less. Who's calling the plays?
For sure. With Coach T, man, stepping back, I don't fault it. I don't hate it either. I think that if you're going to do it, the timing is right. And the reason I say that is this, man. With Terrell Austin, first off, we know he's been a coordinator before. We talked about his time in Detroit, and they were a successful team under him in terms of their defense when he was the coordinator out there. We talked about Cincinnati. We said, man, that was a raw, bad situation across the board in terms of that was at that 2019
Was
season.
he even the coordinator?
Yes, he was.
Or was he just on staff?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I thought he was the coordinator then, yeah. But that was, we know how that season, how everything played out there. But since then, when you talk about the familiarity here, you talk about the development of Minkah Fitzpatrick, you talk about just the back end. I mean, even Cam Sutton, Mike Hilton, these are guys that develop under him. Ahkello Witherspoon. Ahkello wasn't playing like that before he came here. So when I think of all of those guys, I say, man, so there's clearly a response to his teaching. There's clearly a response to his method. Now, when you're talking about him being able to be the head guy, the guy to say, yeah, we're going to run this right here, we're going to run that right there, it's a certain level of confidence and a certain level of comfort from your players that you're going to believe in this call. Like, it's certain things like, man, when you're out there and we know that allegedly it was Coach T's calls, not Coach Butts or Coach LeBeau's calls. I still don't necessarily agree with that 100%. I think it was a little, I know what I saw. Okay. But you respect all, like us as players, we respected all of those guys to a certain level. So it's like, man, when they say something, when they call a call, you believe it, you buy into it. And I remember the feeling when it was LeBeau, we believed it day one. Did not matter from my experience. With Butts, it took some time because he was new to it. We was like, yo, man, like you was the LB's coach, but now we talking about running the whole thing. Like, you got to prove it to us. But then that shifted. You know Coach T, though. There's a certain level, man. When he talks, yo, you believe it. So with Terrell Austin now being here for multiple seasons, now seeing the success of this back end, I think that he is going to generate that type of respect, that type of command, and that's a huge thing. But I also think of Brian Flores and how many people have talked about his impact. How many players have we talked about that have spoken of him? I talked about when I was at OTAs and we would interview some of these players, the first thing they're bringing up on the coach staff is Brian Flores. They say, yo, it's like literally having two head coaches out there. I think that is also the reason why it makes sense to take that step back and do more of the overseeing, do more of the, instead of, hey, having to spend 70, 80% of your time on the defense, now you might only have to spend 50 to 40% of that time. Okay, does that mean you can allocate more to special teams? Maybe allocate more to the offensive end? Like, however,
with having a new quarterback.
You know what I'm saying? So
really
however you want to allocate that, now you have that opportunity. Now you have that luxury because you're confident that Brian Flores is a proven head coach. We've seen him, what he did in Miami. We know what those defenses look like in Miami. Okay, Terrell Austin, proven. We've seen him have success somewhere before. We've already known he can do this job. So if you're going to take that step away, and he's still going to be involved in terms of the week-to-week stuff, the Monday through Saturday game planning, that thought process, he's still going to be involved in that, but he's not going to have to be the main guy. He's not going to have to be the guy driving the ship. He just has to be on the ship. He just, hey, man, this is what we, all right, I like what you, okay, boom, that sounds good. Now, if he sees something or if it's a situational play, yeah, if he wants to call a play or say, hey, man, I want you to blitz them right here. In the past, I've seen him specifically say, I want you to run Cobra. You know what I mean? Or I want you to run, shoot the back eight. Shout out to my man Vince. Now he might just say, hey, I want you to heat him up right here. Or, hell, chill, just give me coverage. He might give you that now. And that's still fine. But I think that because of that combo of Terrell Austin and Brian Flores being here, that's why I don't have an issue with it.
How do you see it playing out? Am I wrong on my assessment or assumption that he could be more hands-on with the players now?
Yes.
When they come to the sideline?
No, he definitely can. Because you don't have to be doing what? Yo, I got to get ready for the next call.
Yeah.
Because when you're a coordinator, it's like you're watching this play, but you also have to be taking into account what could happen after that. All right, what's the down and distance? Okay, what am I thinking? If we get a stop right here, if it's pushed back right here, okay, what if they get a first down right here? What's the next thing? Because that 20 seconds, 30 seconds in between plays, that is not a lot of time.
Or like maybe Tomlin could just look at the defensive line for this.
Yeah.
And then when the defensive line comes back, it's like,
Absolutely,
what the hell's
man.
going on? You guys got to do this and that.
Absolutely. So that's why for me, I'm like, I like this. I think that this will be a benefit for him. And I also think at times it's good to have fresh eyes. And what I mean by that is he's been here. He's been calling this defense or heavily involved in the preparation and the game day calling of this defense since 2013. It's like, man, all right. But we could all agree that the game has changed a lot since that time. Sometimes it might be okay to take a step back and say, you know what do you see right here? How are you calling this? Brian Flores, a young coach, right? How are you seeing this with Terrell Austin? How do y'all look at that right there? Okay, cool. And he's still going to have his insight. He's still going to have certain things, but maybe they just simply having a small little, hey, well, what about instead of you running it like this, what if we just move this guy over here a little bit? Or what if instead of we blitz on this down and then we play coverage on this down, what if we flip that? What if we come out and do this first? Like, those are some of the things when we talk about fresh ideas, fresh eyes. That's the type of stuff that I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of excited to see what that looks like as well. Because we don't know what that's going to be. But I don't think at the end of the day that this defense is going to look drastically different than it did a year ago in terms of the schematics. Now, the productivity better be better than what it was last year, especially against the run. But in terms of the like when we're watching it, I don't think we're going to be able to just look at it to the casual viewer and say, oh man, I don't know, this defense looks foreign to me. I've never seen this before. Like, it's not going to be a drastic shift. But in terms of some of the calls, I do think we will potentially be able to feel a little bit of difference. And who knows, maybe this helps Coach Tomlin with clock management, right? Because that's one of the big knocks on him. Maybe this helps him when it comes to challenges, because that's another big knock on him, right? I'm like, if those are the knocks, maybe this will help him in those areas. But that's kind of where I stand with it, though, man. But I don't have an issue with it.
Also could be him building up his coaching tree.
Talk about that.
I also think it's nice to have a guy like Terrell Austin who's been in the system for a little bit here and have all the defensive guys believe in him and have Austin move up and actually be empowered. Mm-hmm. Whereas if Austin gets moved up and it's like, oh man, it's still just Tomlin making these calls. It's like, yeah, Austin really didn't get that chance. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people on the defense that are like, yeah, I want to show out for Terrell Austin and how he moved up and got into this role. I don't want to let him down. So I think it's a bunch of good things involved with it. And if you really want to go back to play calling, how many times have we seen or heard Reed's not doing the play calling this year? Sean Payton's not doing the play calling. And then he's back in the next year or two. Mm-hmm. You can always go back. It's not the end of the world. And you're right. I think this is just good timing with having a dude like Terrell Austin that's already experienced and having, like you said, a second head coach on the defensive side. It's just good timing because Flores ain't going to be around here forever. Mm-hmm. So why not take advantage of this opportunity then?
Yeah. That's how I feel about it, man.
And like you said with the offense, over these last however many years with Tomlin, how much has he had to worry about the offense?
Right,
with
he
Ben
really
being
hasn't
there
had to.
and having a coordinator like Haley or Arians, like really good offensive coordinators around. Yeah. You don't got to worry about that. Mm-hmm. Now,
you might be
changing
of
the guard.
Peaking. What it look like?
Yeah, exactly.
What's
Canada
your notes? Let me see your notes, man.
In a critical year. Mm-hmm. Rookie quarterback in Pickett, reclamation project with Trubisky, Mason. Like, all young players on offense too. Not even just that. Not even just the quarterback position. We have so many other young players across the board there. So it would be good to shift your focus a little bit there.
Yeah.
Heading into the season.
Yeah. But no, like I said, man, I'm cool with it, man. I'm for it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. As long as it works. If we get good results, who cares?
Yeah. And
Tomlin's getting credit either way. He's
Well,
the head guy.
I know. Say if you're Coach T, I mean, this is kind of a good situation because if the defense does take a step back or look bad, then they really can't blame it on you because they always try to put everything on you. So it's like, hey, man, that wasn't me, But if the defense looks good, then it's like, oh, he was such a great coach that he even knew when to pass the torch to let this coordinator step up. That's all I'm saying, bro.
But I do think that's valid because that is part of leadership.
You got to know when to say, hey, you know what, man? Spread your wings. Let you do a little bit more. Absolutely.
Yeah.